And we're going live in three, two, one, whenever you're ready.
Hi, everyone. This is Craig Proctor, and welcome to the Craig Proctor Real Estate Show. Today, my special guest is Tony Espinoza from Las Vegas, Nevada. Tony, how are you doing today?
Good, Craig. I'm excited to be here with you and first time ever. So little nervous, but I'm okay.
Well, look, I'm happy to see that you're registered for the Craig Proctor Conference, the Future Focus Conference that's happening in less than 2 weeks, November 11th and 12th. We'll have hundreds of Craig Proctor Nation members from all over the United States and Canada, all getting together in Anaheim, California. So anybody watching this that's interested in getting more information about our conference, you can email me, Craig@CraigProctor.com. Again, Craig@CraigProctor.com. You can email me about any of the training that we provide, including the conference that's going to be in Anaheim, California, November 11th and 12th. So, Tony, let's go to the beginning of when you first became involved with the Craig Proctor system. Explain what life as a real estate agent was like before that, and what's happened to your real estate career since you've been involved with me.
Yeah, of course. So I want to tell you, when I first heard about Craig Proctor, it was back in 2009 during the crash. And I remember getting an email from you, but I said, nah, maybe this is not real. This
It sounds too good to be true.
Sounds too good to be true, and I just let it go. Now that's my biggest regret. So, I saw again another ad in 2013. I didn't do anything. But finally in 2018, I decided to, join Craig Proctor.
How much money does that cost you, Tony, procrastinating from 2009 when you first heard about me until actually getting involved years later? I mean, if you figured out how much your income, how much money that procrastination cost, let's not even think about that because that would be a lot of money. So tell everybody what your business looks like today, and then we'll work it backwards to, okay, so what changed? Everybody knows real estate is about, begging for referrals and sitting in open houses and cold calling and door knocking. That's what we're all told to do. That's pretty much what everybody does. But then every once in a while, there's these superstar agents that have huge market share, and they effectively set themselves apart from all the other real estate agents, so much so that buyers and sellers are calling the real estate agent instead of the real estate agent having to chase and make hundreds of cold calls just to find a good buyer or seller once in a while. Talk about attending that first conference and the epiphany that you had.
Yeah, well, when I went to the first conference, it was mind-blowing. It was so much stuff. I came back to Las Vegas, with a lot of ideas, and my mind, it was like, wow, if these people on stage, they can do it, so can I, and someday. And there was so much information, that I still remember my first conference. It was in Anaheim.
You said something really important just a second ago. You said when you attended the conference and you met hundreds of other Craig Proctor millionaire agents, that you realized if all of those hundreds of other agents could do it, that you could do it as well. And that's one of the big reasons why we do the conferences is social proof. Remember what you said at the beginning of our interview here. You said, I first heard about Craig Proctor, but the success stories, the testimonials sounded too good to be true. But once you attended the conference, you realized that this was actually happening to thousands of agents all over the United States and Canada. And by meeting them and realizing, hey, these people are just like me, they get up every day, they put their pants on the same as me. That gave you not only the knowledge, but the confidence to go back home and start to implement the system.
Yes, that is correct. So, and again, going back to 2018, I was, struggling to a point. I was a solo agent. I had an assistant, but it wasn't really an assistant because she was doing whatever she wanted, right?
Right.
I didn't have a manual like we do now. So, and I was doing all right, I guess I was closing anywhere from 40 to 50 deals by myself, but it was too much work. I will go on vacation and my clients will follow me on my vacation. And that was the first thing that I changed when I joined Point Proctor. I learned about the system, about the team system, and I implemented it. Now I have to say this to anybody watching, this webinar. When you join Craig Proctor, I mean, yeah, I mean, some people can have, an overnight success. That's, and we've seen it, but, everything, it's incremental. So I have to share with this, Craig, when I joined Craig Proctor, I was closing around, $250,000 by myself, but it was a lot of work. So this year, first time ever, we have done record numbers. We're on track to close 100 transactions for the first time ever.
Wow, congratulations.
Yes, yes. And we are going to be hitting the 1 million mark ever.
Well, there's no turning back now, Tony.
Oh, not at all. I heard, one of the people on stage, one of the, they went up on stage, say, you know what, once you hit the million, you're never going to go back to 500 or 250.
Absolutely. That's the thing is once you see this and once you hear this and once you experience this, you can't unhear it. You can't unsee it. Once you hit $1 million, you're never going to be satisfied with making $250,000. And the crazy part is, I think you would agree, you're working less now making $1 million a year than when you were making $250,000 a year trying to do it all by yourself.
Yes. Now, Craig, and please, believe me what I said, anybody watching this webinar, now when I go on vacation, I don't even answer my phone.
It's great, isn't it? I often joke around. Most real estate agents, when they go on vacation, they just work from a different location, right? So they bring their laptop to the hotel. They go to the beach and they're on their phone all day long. It's not a real vacation, right? It's just you're working from a different location. So now you're able to take time off, go on vacations, unplug yourself from the business because it really is a business. They say the definition of a business is, does it work without you? If your business doesn't work without you, if you can't go away on vacation and step away from it, let's be honest, it's not a business at all. It's just a bad job. I like to compare, people think, well, real estate, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to make lots of money and I'm going to set my own hours. And that totally has happened to you. But for many agents, they trade their whole life to real estate and they don't make the kind of money that they thought they would make. And they certainly don't have the free time that they thought they were going to have. Their business kind of owns them. It's not even really a business. It's a job, and a bad job. Think about this. If you are a good salesperson, and let's say that you weren't in real estate and you just worked for any big company in corporate America, you would easily make probably $100,000, $200,000 a year. The company would probably give you a company car. The company would supply all the leads. You would probably get 4 to 6 weeks paid vacation, right? You'd work 9 to 5 at 5 o'clock. Don't bother me. You'd have weekends off. So if we're going to get into real estate and we're going to work longer hours and we're going to spend our own money investing in our business and leads, it's got to be a lot better than just the comfort of working for some big company in corporate America, right? And a lot of agents don't have that. A lot of agents wish they could make a couple $100,000 a year, and they wish they had 4 or 5 weeks of paid vacation, and they wish that they had somebody supplying them leads. This is all possible inside the Craig Proctor system, because here's what I've got. We call it Craig Proctor Coaching, which is really a horrible name for what I do because it's really the Craig Proctor system. The only reason I call it Craig Proctor Coaching is because that is a term that real estate agents are familiar with. They're familiar with all the coaches. But for those of you watching, I don't think when you think of coaching, you're like, well, that's someone's going to motivate me or someone's going to keep me accountable and yell at me. Did you make 100 phone calls today? That's not what we do here inside of Craig Proctor. What we do is we plug in a lead generation system into your business. So you have an overflow of business where the buyers and sellers are calling you. Then we have to have a conversion system, because just because the buyers and sellers are calling you doesn't mean you're going to convert them to face-to-face appointments. Then we need a really good buyer presentation and a seller presentation. So when we do meet with buyers and sellers, they want to choose to work with us and only with us and pay us the fee that we deserve. So what we've created here is a system that works inside of whatever franchise you're with. You know, you could be with Century 21, Remax, Keller Williams, EXP. This is the operating system. Like on an iPhone, there's an operating system, right? We provide real estate agents the operating system for their business. Right now, by all rights, the franchises probably should be giving this to you, right? Because a franchise is supposed to be a proprietary way of doing business. But let's be honest, I worked at Remax for 30 years, and some of the Remax agents were brand new in the business and trying to figure it out. And some of them were in real estate for 30 years. And some of the Remax agents did it this way and that way. In other words, there was no way, there was no system. It was everybody doing their own thing. And that's pretty much what happens in real estate. So that's what you were doing, Tony. You were kind of like doing everything they told you to do. You looked around at the other agents, very normal. What are they doing? I'm going to copy that. What did my broker tell me to do? And so that was my existence the first year of real estate. You know, I got into real estate, you know, because my dad was a real estate agent. So they told me to go cold call and door knock and sit in open houses and do floor time and chase expireds. It was all about me chasing. So you're a perfect exemplifier of what happens when you're the same guy in the same market, which is Las Vegas, Nevada. Good guy, good agent. But once we plugged you into this system, look what's happened. You go from, making a little bit to making 4, 5, 6 times what you're making now. And now you're so successful, Tony, that you're on here on an interview with me because people want to know that this is real, right? When you ignored those first communications way back in 2009, it wasn't because you didn't want a better business. It's just that there's so many things being sold to real estate agents that are not real. Most of the coaches and trainers have never actually been successful as a real estate agent. Everyone knows my track record, right? Nobody knew me. When I got into real estate, I did the same thing as Tony, as all of you watching, cold calling, door knocking, whatever they told me to do. But when I discovered a lead generation system, it changed my business overnight. I go from a nobody in real estate to within 36 months of having my real estate license, I'm named the #1 Remax agent, not in the country. I'm the #1 Remax agent in the entire world. That's sort of how I got famous to other agents. And that's why you guys come to me, because you want to learn from somebody that's actually made millions of dollars every year. Now, my job is to make it easy to copy. So when I work, Tony, with you and all of our members, I'm working all day long, every day, trying to figure out how to make it easy for you to copy the system. And there's a lot to this system. Let me ask you this. Here's a great question. And I asked this question actually of one of our members the other day, who's making over $3 million in GCI. I asked the guy, I said, you're making $3 million in GCI. Before you met me, you were making 300,000. So you've multiplied your income by 10 times. What percentage of the Craig Proctor system in its enormity, what percentage, I asked this guy, have you implemented? He said, probably about 15%. So I'll ask you that question. Of all the stuff, the smorgasbord, all the systems and materials we have in Craig Proctor, now you're making $1 million a year. What percentage of all the stuff that's available do you think you've implemented?
Well, I guess I will have to say same thing, anywhere from 15 to 20%, because it's so much. And it's, like I said at the beginning, it took me, a while, because it's when I went to the first conference, I felt like I was drinking from a fire hose. I mean, it's just so things that I never heard of, before. Yeah, you're right. It was about, cold calling, door knocking, open house, sitting in an open house all day. And it was just, tiring, and now we don't do none of that stuff.
Once you had this overflow of business coming at you, so I want to frame this for everybody. So in Craig Proctor world, it's illegal to make cold calls, door knock. I mean, I'm making this up, right? It's not illegal, but we don't want you doing any of that stuff, right? If I had the power to pass a real estate law, I would say, we're going to ban all that stuff. Everything you've been taught, throw it out the window. We're going to push against industry norms. So 100% of Tony's business are buyers and sellers that first call him. So everybody understand that. He's not making an outbound call, cold call to a stranger. He's not calling, he's not buying leads and calling, are you thinking about making a move? Nope. 100% of the buyers and sellers are reaching out and calling Tony. How many of you would do better in your real estate business if buyers and sellers were chasing you down instead of you chasing them? So that makes it easy. And plus you're positioned much better in the prospect's mind when they're chasing you versus you chasing them. Now, once you had an overflow of business, Tony, you got to the point where you had to hire some other agents to work with you because you physically, I mean, this sounds crazy, but you physically couldn't go out on all the listing appointments or work with all the buyers.
That is correct. That is correct. So now, you know, I have my listing manager that she handles all the listings, and you know, have my buyer's agents. So all I do now is I'm really now I'm the entrepreneur. So I'm bringing the business to my team.
Yeah, sure. You're the rainmaker. You make it
I'm
rain.
the
You bring in the business. You do the hiring and the training. Okay, so I want everyone to think about that because this is where a lot of people would call BS, right? They'd be like, "Well, I mean, how does this guy make How does this Tony guy make $1 million a year, and he's not even working with buyers and sellers, right?" Well, think about this definition of a business. What did we talk about a minute ago? Tony has a business. Tony could go away for 2 weeks, come back. Buyers would still be showing houses while he was away. Listings would be taken on. It's a real business. Okay, now here's the next question, everybody. How many homes could you sell if it didn't depend on you? Got you there, right? That's the epiphany because Tony gets that now. It's like, holy crap. In the beginning, I was working 7 days a week, 18 hours a day to make this little amount of money. Now I'm going to make over $1 million a year, and it doesn't really depend on me, the day-to-day runnings of the business, because it's really a business. So Tony can go to 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. And by the way, Tony knows when he goes to Anaheim to my conference here in a couple of weeks, he's going to sit in the seats amongst other agents that are millionaire agents using the Craig Proctor system that have the same experience as Tony. They came to me, most of them struggling or burnout, right? You could be making a lot of money. You're watching this right now. It's like, well, I'm doing well financially. Yeah, but you know the truth? You're trading your life doing it that way, right? That's why many agents can come in. You see them, right? And they're successful for a little bit, right? They can do the sprint, but they can't do the marathon because you can't keep working 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. Eventually you burn out. So this cannot be about you working harder. So Craig Proctor does not teach you how to do more cold calls or do more open houses or work 12 hours a day instead of 10 hours a day or work 8 days a week. I don't teach you how to do more of the old stuff. I want you to stop doing that. The easiest way for you to be successful and do what Tony's doing and my millionaire agents is just to stop doing all the stuff they trained you to do and say to yourself, there must be a better way. That's what every entrepreneur says in time of crisis. There's got to be a better way. You know, Tony is at $1 million, but guess what? I can guarantee you right now, we're talking next year, the end of 2025, Tony's going to be like, I'm not satisfied with $1 million anymore. I want to do 2 million. I want to do 3 million. Now, it's easier. This is the irony. Tony, it's easier for you to make $1 million a year. You're working less now. It's easier for you now back than when you were making $250,000 a year.
Totally agree.
Nobody believes that, right? Well, in fact, you know, Tony, at the conference, we might have like newbies there, and they'll come up and they go, "Oh my God, this sounds great, Craig, but I would never want to be like Tony. I'd never want to make $1 million a year." And I'll laugh and I'll say, "Well, like, did you try it and you didn't like it? Did you make $1 million?" No. What their perception, their false perception is that they say, "Craig, I'm killing myself to make 100 grand a year. To make $1 million a year would probably mean I'd end up divorced or with health problems, or I wouldn't have relationships with my children or anybody." And I say to them, yes, doing it the way you're doing it, that would be true. That's why we're not going to do it that way. We want you to stop cold calling, door knocking, and chasing, and we want you to replace everything you're doing with smart, modern marketing, conversion systems, presentations, and then team building. Now, when I talk about team building, and we're going to do a giveaway here in a minute, we got a free report. There's some really bad advice, Tony, from some of these fake coaches on team building, because they've never built a team before, right? So they talk out of their rear end. And so what they're saying to agents, hey, if you want to get rich, run out and hire a bunch of people. That's horrible advice unless you have an overflow of business first. You don't run out and hire a bunch of agents. First of all, why would they want to come and work with you? You don't have an overflow of business. And if you lie to them and say you have an overflow of business, well, they join up with you. They're not going to last too long. And so what you do is this, is you hire people, you don't have an overflow, and then you start giving them your business. What the heck? I talked to a guy about a month ago, and he said he had his best friend from high school call in and want to list the house, and he gave it to one of his selling partners. I'm like, dude, why are you splitting commission on your best friend? He goes, well, because if I don't give that agent some listing appointments, they're going to leave me. I'm like, let them leave. You did this backwards. You need to have an overflow of business. So much business, like Tony, like you, where you had so much, you were like, I can't even do it all. Plus, when you have way too many buyers and sellers, how many of you would admit some of the buyers and sellers are better than others? Right? If everyone watching this right now could imagine, if you had too many sellers wanting to list their house every week and too many buyers, and you couldn't personally work with them all, you would start to pick and choose. It's like, I'm going to work with the most motivated, the most sincere, the most ready to act buyers and sellers. Anyone that's rude or a jerk, yeah, let them go work with my competitor. So the answer is, number one, we got to show all you folks how to get an overflow of business. That's what I did with Tony. And Tony's like, okay, be careful what I wish for, because now Tony's got all this business, but his real goal is not just making more money. It's like, I want the money, but I want to have my life. So the next step is we got to replace everything that Tony's doing. We got to replace it with other people. Tony, when I got into real estate, I used to think I had to get the keys cut, and I had to take the pictures, and I had to do the paperwork. All that administrative stuff is the first thing you're going to delegate. Then you're going to hire your first licensed agent. Your first licensed agent is going to shadow you. You're going to show them the ropes, show them how to do it. Now, this can all go horribly wrong if you hire the wrong people. So we teach you, well, how do I hire the right person? How do I recruit them? How do I hire them? How do I train them? How do I manage them? As real estate agents, we don't know how to do any of that. Tony, I never hired anybody in my life before, right? So I had to learn this. So we created systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and managing. Now, what a relief it was, Tony, when you got a couple good people and you could start to trust them and give some of that business to them, and then you could start to back off your hours and work on more important things.
Yeah, I totally feel like I have I have franchises now. They're all doing the same that I'm doing right now. We got it from you. Now I'm passing it on to my team, and I believe me when I tell you this, Craig. Right now, we have agents here in Vegas that are struggling. They cannot close one deal, and we're talking to agents, that have been in the business for 20 years. And here, we can't keep up with, we're getting so many listings now and so many buyers that, it's just, I need more people. I need more help. And that's what I'm looking for right now, more agents to join my team.
If we go back to the mistake that most agents make, imagine if you owned a retail store. Maybe it's a jewelry store. Okay. And you're sitting in your jewelry store, and maybe it's you and another person. You're running your jewelry store, but hardly any customers are coming into your jewelry store. You wouldn't say to your partner, oh, well, I guess we need to hire more people. You wouldn't do that, right? That would be stupid, because now you'd increase your overhead and you don't have any customers coming into your, that's not your problem. For most of you, your problem isn't like, I need more people, I need help. No, your problem is you need to make money now. You need to learn what it is that buyers and sellers want that you can offer that's so unique that it's only you offering it, right? They can't go online and get what you're offering. They can't get what you're offering from other real estate agents. So obviously your question is, well, what is that, Craig? I'd like to know. What is it that I can offer that buyers and sellers want so badly that they'll call me, and the buyers and sellers can't find it online? Let's be honest. If the buyers and sellers can find it online and not speak to a real estate salesperson, that's what they're going to do. So we got to stop offering stuff the buyers can find. If your big offer to buyers is, well, I'm going to email you the houses on the internet, the buyer's like, no, thank you. I can go to Zillow and find that by myself, right? If your big offer to sellers is, well, I'll tell you what your home will sell for, the seller's like, I can go to Zillow and Redfin and Realtor and find that information by myself. So we show you how to replace the old ineffective offers. How do I know that those offers are ineffective for you? You should know because they're not working, right? That's why you're watching this right now. You know that what you're offering isn't working very well. How do you know it? Because people aren't banging your door down to want to do business with you like they are for Tony and my Millionaire Agents. So we're going to replace what you're doing now with the Craig Proctor lead generation system. It's going to kick in, and in short order, you're going to have too much business. Okay. Now what we're going to talk about is what's the next step after I have too much business. I want to share a report with you, Faith, if you can screen share. This is a giveaway. Tony and I are giving this away today. It's called the 9-step system to designing your real estate team. If you want to just scroll through that, this is a giveaway. Drop your email address into the comments below. Okay, drop your email address into the comments below, and Faith will send this out to you. So it talks about how to recruit them, how to hire them, how to train them. This will give you a good start as to if you've hired people, maybe what mistakes you've made. Like here we are, what are you worth per hour? What should you be doing? The organizational chart. It's all right here for free. So there's no obligation. There's no cost to get this. Thank you, Faith. So if you want this report on how to grow your team, in the comments below, just simply provide us your email address and we will send that out. Now, I have something else for you guys. If you want to book a call with my team to find out more about the Craig Proctor system, you can go to proctorcall.com. We'll type that into the link below, proctorcall.com, no space, my name, last name, proctorcall.com. When you click that link, you're going to go to my Acuity Daytimer, and you're going to book a day and a time that works for you. And you and I are going to jump on a phone call for a Zoom call for about a half an hour. Give me a half an hour to show you what this is all about. It doesn't cost you any money. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I'm just going to answer your questions about what the Craig Proctor system is about. The first question I'll ask you, for example, is I'd say, well, how many homes are you selling right now? And you might say, well, I don't know, I'm selling 25 homes. Great. How many homes would you like to sell? Well, my goal is to go to 50. The natural next question I would ask is, well, if you're doing 25 transactions, but you want to do 50, how come you're not already doing 50? Right? And then you'll proceed to tell me how your market's different and all the challenges, and I'll show you how you can reach your goal. Okay, now that's for free. Now, why would I do that? To impress you with what I've got. I'm going to show you what I've got, and then you can decide, do I want it, right? Or do I want to keep selling real estate the way I'm doing? Now, we didn't have this breakthrough call. When you go to proctorcall.com, we didn't have this breakthrough call when Tony came in the scene back on 2009. All Tony got was an email from us, and he looked at the email and said, well, sounds too good to be true. And then I emailed him in 2010 and 2011, and I kept showing up, and I kept showing up. And Tony probably thought, well, this guy, at least he's a pretty good marketer because he's kept in touch with me for years. And then finally, Tony, you show up at one of the events, and then the epiphany. Once you saw this, Tony, there's no way you were going back to cold calling, door knocking, and begging for business.
Never again. Never again.
And here's what we know. You're at $1 million now. That was the first goal. But we're not going to be satisfied with $1 million anymore. $1 million is going to be in the rearview mirror in 2024 and in 2025. We're going to chase the next big goal, which is $2 million. And you have the recipe. All you have to do is do more of what you're doing.
Yes, that is correct.
If you were to make $3 million a year and it still didn't depend on your presence, or $5 million, you can do that. There is no limit to this. Let me ask everybody again for their buy-in. Do you guys agree with that? Okay, you might not know how to do it, but would everyone give me this? Can I get everyone's agreement that a real business should operate without you? Right? I don't know. What's a simplistic example? When you go to McDonald's, okay, this is stupid, but when you go to McDonald's, you don't meet Ronald McDonald. You don't meet, right? There's McDonald's restaurant serves more food to more people in the world every single day, and it's run by teenagers that can't even clean their bedrooms. It's a business that's not people dependent, it's position dependent. So that's what Tony has. He has a bunch of positions. I've got inside sales agents that call the leads. I've got outside sales agents that go on the appointments. I've got a customer service manager, a database coordinator. He's got all these people inside his team, and he can just keep expanding it, right? Look at, if McDonald's serves more food, if they're the #1 restaurant in the world, it's because of systems. It's not because they hire superstars, right? McDonald's isn't hiring CEOs to hand out the French fries at the drive-through. The systems are so good at McDonald's that ordinary people allow the restaurant to get extraordinary results. Well, that's what Tony's done. See, it doesn't matter when the home seller in Las Vegas, doesn't matter whether Tony goes out or one of Tony's selling partners goes out, they're getting the same presentation. You said a little earlier, Tony, you said, Craig taught me and then I taught them. That's what happened, right? I coach Tony on the listing presentation, the seller presentation, for example, and then Tony just has to teach the team members what I taught him.
Yeah, and Craig, I want to say something, and you nailed it. You know, in regards to the to McDonald's, right? So when I was going back 2010, 11, 12, I always, you know, I said to myself one day, I said, you know what, this is good. This, you know, I make, you know, I make money to live, but what if I get sick? What if I die? So my business will stop 100%. And I thought myself, you know what? I'm gonna open a restaurant, because if something happened, my employees will take care of it. But I never saw it in my real estate business. I didn't understand that I can do it on my real estate business until I went to your conference and I started seeing all these people saying what you're saying. And I have to be honest with you. I didn't believe it, 100%. I said, "No, I don't know. This is, maybe it's not real." But now I'm a living testimony to that. It's just
it's real now because
it's
you're
real.
doing it. It's real.
100%.
It's real to you now. And I'm so glad that you're sharing your natural skepticism that you had earlier with this, and that you're now on the other side of this and you actually have $1 million business, because that's the #1 thing that holds people back. Right? I mean, I would say this. Let me ask everybody watching this. Who do you think the #1 person holding you back from your full potential is? It's us, right? It's nobody else. Like, it's not, we're worried about all kinds of things. We're worried about the election. We're worried about what's going on in the marketplace, the economy, the interest rates. It doesn't matter. We have millionaire agents inside of Craig Proctor for 30 years, whether it's an up market, a down market, low interest rates, high interest rates, whether the Democrats are in power or the Republicans, it doesn't matter. Okay. What matters is you got to get out of your own way, right? You can't be married to your present model if you're not happy with the results that you're getting. Here's a good example. Everybody has a morning routine, right? Like when the alarm clock goes off, or maybe you just wake up naturally. Tony, I wake up at 7 o'clock every day. I don't know why. Like 7 o'clock, 7:01, I just naturally wake up. But my morning routine is I'll jump in the shower, I'll go down, I'll have a coffee, and that's how I start my day. Those two things, and then I'll go to work. Okay. Now, if I don't get in the shower and have my coffee, it kind of throws me off. That's just a very simplistic example of a little routine that I have. And I don't like it when people mess with my routine. How many of you watching this right now have a morning routine like mine? Well, guess what? You also have a work routine, right? You come into the office at a certain time, you pull off the hot sheets off of MLS, you chat to the other agents around the water cooler, you cold call, whatever your routine is. Understand, your routine equals your results. So real estate agents come to me and they never say, I'm happy with my results. The reason real estate agents come to me is because I'm unhappy with my results. Craig, they say, I want to do better. And I remind them that you can't keep doing what you're doing. Now, this is the problem, right? We don't like change. Our old paradigm pulls us back because we're comfortable with what we know. There's an old saying, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Everybody wants to make $1 million a year, but nobody wants to change because change is uncomfortable. So we walk you through these changes, right? And you need to give up some of these most cherished ideas that you have about selling real estate, right? You've been doing it maybe for a long time, right? And this is what you know. To get to the other side, to get to the promised land, you've got to be willing to give up what's not working for you. You've got to come to that conclusion that you're working way too hard for what you're getting. Tony, when you look back at it, it's like, you know, it's unbelievable how hard you were working and how much of your life you were trading for so little money.
Yes, that's true. You know, I had to miss a lot of events for my kids at school, dinners with my wife, you know, and my family, and again, not joining Trade Proctor back in 2009 is my biggest regret in my career in real estate. I mean, I probably right now will be making $5-6 million a year, but you know,
Yeah,
but
and that time that we trade away from our children's events or our spouse, we never get that time back again, right? So maybe that's the emotional experience that you folks need to think about right now is, okay, if we just talk about making more money, that's great, but how about having more time in your life? How about not missing your family's events? How about not coming home, dragging your carcass home after 12 hours, and your spouse is there waiting, your spouse has been patiently waiting all day long, and you show up and you're burnt out, you got no energy, and you can't go out on a date or you can't do anything. You miss your kids, your child's recital, you miss all this stuff in life, right? And so what price tag do we put on that, on what you miss out on life because you're struggling as a real estate agent, doing real estate agent things instead of having a business that sells real estate? Does everyone understand what we're talking about here? Is right now, you maybe don't see it, but you just have this job as a real estate agent. It's a bad job, and it keeps you away from your family. It limits your income, and it makes you do a whole bunch of things you don't like every day, and you can't go away. You can't enjoy yourself. You can't unplug, and you're burnt out. That's why you're still watching this, because you know this is true. This is what real estate agents like about me. I'm not some guru on top of a mountain that never sold real estate. I sold 10,000 homes. I was you. At one point, I was the guy struggling, questioning where's my next paycheck going to come from. I'm desperate to be successful, cold calling, door knocking. I'm doing all that stuff. And I have a system that I've created over the last 25 years that allowed me personally to sell 10,000 homes and be the #1 RE/MAX agent in the world. Now, maybe you can figure this out on your own. Or maybe you've given your money to some of these fake coaches that have never actually made millions of dollars selling real estate. You're watching this still because you're interested. Okay, let's acknowledge that. If this wasn't of interest to you, if you thought Tony was an actor and I was a fake coach, you wouldn't be watching this right now. You want to believe this. Tony wanted to believe this. When he first started getting my information back in 2009, he wanted to believe it. His brain wouldn't allow him to believe it for a couple of years. And then finally, because I'm persistent, we kept that message in front of Tony and he came to the conference. All of you have the ability to come to my conference here in a couple of weeks in Anaheim, California. You can sit in and you can eavesdrop. You can listen to it. You can watch the Millionaire Agents as they get on stage and they explain exactly how they're doing it. They show their marketing. They show their follow-up, their conversion, their presentations. All you have to do today is say maybe. If you can't make it to the Anaheim event, at least book a free Zoom call. Can you give me a half an hour? Let me answer your questions, show you why your situation is unique. You know, every real estate agent thinks my situation is unique, my marketplace is different. No, it's not. I'm going to tell you why your situation isn't unique. Your situation, I'm going to tell you what your situation is. You don't have enough buyers and sellers calling you every day saying, come and get me. That's your situation. I'm going to fix that. And if you have people calling you, you're messing them up perhaps because you don't know what to say to compel the buyers and sellers that call you to want to meet with you. Now let's talk about that. Just because you got buyers and sellers calling you doesn't mean they're willing to meet with you. And you can't make the buyers and sellers meet with you. You can't make them. You can only, using the right language and the right offers, compel the buyers and sellers to want to meet with you. And the buyers and sellers that meet with you, you can't make them list their home with you You can't make them sign a buyer contract, but using the right language, you can compel the buyers and sellers you meet with to want to sign the listing agreement, to want to sign the buyer agreement. So if you're serious about being a real estate agent and getting to $1 million a year like Tony, you're in the right place. But now you got to take the next step. You could order the free report. You'll see the good information there. You can book a call by going to proctorcall.com. You can email me. Just shoot me an email, craig@craigproctor.com. Tony, how would realtors watching this, how would they best reach you?
Yeah, well, they can all over, the internet, that's something else that you taught me, that I, be everywhere. And that's where I'm at right now. So,
Omnipresence.
Omnipresence, I didn't understand that until I went to, your conferences, here for the Millionaire Agents. So we're everywhere. Yeah, you can reach me at, you can find me online on social media as Realtor Tony Espinosa, or you can call my office at 702-577-4848. And, if you want to ask me anything about this, this is real. I'm not getting paid. I love what I do. And, I mean, I'm looking forward to be in Anaheim in a couple of weeks.
Tony, I want to thank you so much for doing this. Yeah, Tony's not getting paid for this. And in fact, Tony could be working and making money. Instead, he came here to help spread the message of how the Craig Proctor system has impacted his real estate career, but also his life. And that's why I still do this today. Helping real estate agents make a little bit more money seems small to me. What is big to me, what's important to me, is when I see Tony in California and he comes up and he shakes my hand, he gives me a big bear hug, and he says, "Hey man, you've changed my life." That's what we're looking to do inside the Craig Proctor system. So let us know below any questions or comments that you have. We will get back to every comment. I want to thank everybody for being with us here today. You can Google Tony. Go ahead and take your phone out if you want and take a picture of Tony's full name there. It's not the tiger. It's just Tony Espinosa. But the point that Tony just made is, do you guys agree that buyers and sellers start their search online when it comes to buying or selling real estate? How many of you agree that's what they do? So your new listing presentation is the presentation that you make online. Now, I'm going to explain what I just said. Back in the day, the 1980s, the 1990s, the early 2000s, how a home seller would select their agent is they might interview 2 or 3 agents and have them come over to the kitchen table and each one would give their presentation. I'm not saying that doesn't happen today. I am saying, though, to get to the kitchen table, you need to have a presentation online. You need to do the convincing to the buyers and sellers of why you're different, you're better and unique. So they call you so you have a chance to get to the kitchen table, right? Gone are the days where buyers and sellers are just calling over agents that they don't know about and saying, okay, let's spend the next hour and you can tell me what you do. They don't want to do that. You got to tell them what you do online. So when they Google your area, when they Google Las Vegas real estate, when they Google your name, what shows up? You should mystery shop yourself. And if you're not happy with what comes up when you Google your name, then we show you how to fix that, right? We want people, when they're online, buyers and sellers, when they're online, to know who you are, right? The services you provide, what makes you different and better. And you're going to learn how to make these unique offers that buyers and sellers want so much that they're going to contact you. They're going to trip over themselves to contact you. Now, that sounds too good to be true. I understand that. But that's why I've created more millionaire agents than any other coach or trainer or guru or fake coach out there today, is because I have experience in creating millionaire agents like Tony Espinosa. Tony, thank you so much for doing this today. Everyone, thank you for watching. Make sure you book your call at proctorcall.com, or we'll see you in Anaheim, California, November 11th and 12th. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Please leave your comments below.
Thanks, Craig.